The four rosters for February's Four Nations face-off won't be officially unveiled until Wednesday, but our insiders have been shaking the bushes and they've come up with a list of guys they believe will be on Team Canada. To run down that list, here's Pierre, LeBrun. And Pierre, something we need to point out right from the start, there is a shroud of secrecy surrounding the official lists.
Yeah, listen, the NHL and NHL Player Association, they want to make a big deal of these roster reveals on Wednesday. We know Finland and Sweden will be in the afternoon because of the time difference back home, and Canada and US in the evening with their respective rights holders for the league. And so what's happened because of that is that, for example, Team Canada has warned all of us, we are not confirming any of the names you're throwing at us, and they have certainly owned up to that. It's been absolute shutdown with everyone on the management and coaching staff for Team Canada, and everyone from the league and the PA, the same thing. And in fact, the NHL sent out a note to team PR staffs warning them that they were not going to give teams a heads up on who were on these rosters. So there you go. They're trying to keep the reveal a true reveal, but it doesn't mean that we, Darren Dreger and Chris Johnson and I, can't do a little digging.
Absolutely. All right, so let's get to it. Now, we should point out that 5 of the 6 players were officially named back in June were forwards. Crosby, McKinnon, Marchand Point, and of course, Connor McDavid. Who do you believe is going to round out the forward group here?
Right. So from making some calls around the league here in the last 24 hours, we believe that these are some of the forwards who will be named on Wednesday, namely Anthony Cirelli and Brandon Hagel from the Tampa Bay Lightning, Sam Reinhart and Sam Bennett from the Florida Panthers, Mitch Marner from the Toronto Maple Leafs. We think Marner will be the only Maple Leaf to make Team Canada. Mark Stone from the Golden Knights and Travis Konechny from the Flyers. So those are some of the names that we believe will end up making the official roster come Wednesday.
All right, what about the blue line? Cale Makar was named to the team back in the summer, and you believe you got a pretty good handle on at least 4 more of the D-men to be representing Canada?
Again, this is what we believe to be true at this moment. Shea Theodore and Alex Pietrangelo from the Golden Knights, we think will be on there on the blue line, joining Makar, as well as Josh Morrissey from the Winnipeg Jets, and Travis Sanheim from the Philadelphia Flyers. Again, we're missing some names there, but those are 4 of the D that we believe that have received the good news here in the last 24 hours about making the Four Nations roster for Team Canada. One name that you won't hear is that of Drew Doughty. Of course, has been hurt all year, as you know, Gino. But Team Canada, I'm told, did reach out to Drew Doughty in the last 24 hours just to explain that, hey, let's see how you are when you come back. Doughty's expected to come back somewhere around 5 to 7 weeks from now. Let's see how you're playing. And if there's an injury on defense, you know, maybe you're the first guy to get a call. There's so much respect for Drew Doughty. He would have been on, I think, had he not been hurt this year, given his Olympic experience in 2010, 2014, and he's still a great defenseman. But obviously you understand why he won't be part of the roster when it's announced on Wednesday, because he hasn't played hockey yet.
All right, Pierre, let's get to the goalies. There's been a lot of talk about who's going to play in net. When we spoke last week, you felt pretty confident that Aiden Hill and Jordan Binnington would be named on the team. A, are you still confident that they're on the team? And B, any word on the third goalie?
Yeah, so I don't believe that's changed. Again, there's the word believe because Team Canada won't confirm, but I still believe that Jordan Binnington and Aiden Hill will be named on Wednesday. And still a mystery for the third name. Names that have been thrown at us in terms of the discussion and being in the conversation here over the last week. Logan Thompson, Samuel Montembeault, Stuart Skinner, even Marc-Andre Fleury, which would be a spectacular story. But nothing confirmed yet, even from secondary sourcing, on who that third name will be. So it'll be interesting because, as I mentioned last week, you know, whoever that third goalie is isn't necessarily the third goalie right now. It just means that he's one of 3 names, because the reality is Team Canada views the goaltending competition as completely wide open between now and February, and whoever has the hot hand will get the start come February 12th in Montreal.
Okay, when we added all those names that you just rolled through, there would still be a couple of spots up for grabs. Is there a theme that you're sensing on who Team Canada is looking for to fill out those final few openings?
For sure. I mean, if we are indeed correct about some of these names here, you can see a particular trend, right? I mean, Reinhardt and Bennett from the reigning Stanley Cup champion Panthers, Hagel, Cirelli joining Point from the two-time Stanley Cup champion Lightning from a few years ago, Stone, Pietrangelo, Theodore, Aiden Hill from the 23 Stanley Cup champion Golden Knights. So if this indeed what we think it is, the trend is pretty clear that a very big tiebreaker among all these talented players goes to guys who have won cups, guys who are winners. Binnington won a cup too. And that's not surprising because there'll be a lot of pressure on this team. It's a pressure-packed tournament. And the other thing I would mention is that John Cooper, who's the Team Canada head coach, and he's not just an innocent bystander in this process. Yes, Don Sweeney's the Four Nations GM for Canada. Doug Armstrong is the overarching Olympic GM for Italy in 26. Those are huge voices. But John Cooper was leaned on in terms of, well, what do you think of this guy? And how would you use this guy? And I only mention that because I don't know if people will bat an eye, for example, at Brandon Hagel, potentially being on this team. We think he will be. Not if you would ask John Cooper, I'm sure, because he's one of his most trusted players in Tampa. So those are all layers that you have to bounce around your head, once you see the official roster reveal.
All right, there you have it. Our early look at who our insiders believe could be playing for Team Canada at this February's Four Nations Cup. The guys are going to have lots more coming up on the full version of Insider Trading later on SportsCenter.